Welcome, my name is Nantje, and I want to present a paper or the findings of a paper that I have recently submitted together with my colleague Bente Trian. And as said, the title is The Paradoxical Relationship Between Masturbation and Sexual Satisfaction. Masturbation is maybe one of the simplest sexual activities. Oh, is it good now? Yeah. Maybe one of the simplest sexual activities because you can do it on your own. You do not have to find a sexual partner, and you do not have to. You can focus on your own sexual needs and desires. So there are a lot of huge advantages with masturbation compared to other sexual activities. And one of the huge advantages is that it's a safe sexual activity. You are not in danger of contracting any sexual diseases. You are not able to be pregnant. So there are a lot of positive possibilities with masturbation. And of all sexual behaviors, it's maybe the one activity which is almost always based or motivated by sexual pleasure, and only sometimes due to a lack of, for example, a partner. But most often, it's people do it because it's just fun to do it. And if we look into the research, one has found that women who masturbate during adolescence have less sexual arousal difficulties, and they have also more orgasms with a partner compared to women who do not masturbate during adolescence. So it can be seen as an important part of people's sexual development, where you're able to learn more about your body, your bodily responses or sexual responses, and which also make you more able to get a more rewarding sexual life. And it has also been said that it's a satisfying activity for later life when you have lost your partner, or maybe your partner has become sick. You have still the opportunity to find sexual pleasure or deal with your sexual pleasure by masturbating. So by promoting masturbation, you promote, in a way, sexual health. So it's in a way disturbing that we focus so less about masturbation. It's almost no research done that focus on how we do it by ourselves. Here we have a word cloud which focuses on the most common reasons for masturbating. It's based on a review of the literature, and unfortunately there are I didn't find any studies that have looked into the reasons for masturbation among men. So this is only women who said, who talked about their reasons for masturbating. And as you can see, the most common reasons why women say that they do it is for feeling sexual pleasure, feeling sexual desire, and for sexual satisfaction. So it was about 7 in 10 women who said that they engage in masturbation because of those reasons, followed by because of stress reduction and to relax. And what is interesting is that almost all those reasons you see on the word cloud are based on pleasure motives and not due to the lack of a partner or lack of something. So it seems in a way a paradox that when we look into the research, look into the association between masturbation and sexual satisfaction, that most studies find a negative relationship. There are not that many studies, but some studies have looked into this relationship, and the association is not that huge or big, and some few studies do not find a relationship at all. So one main reason why we maybe find a negative relationship between those two concepts could be that masturbation is still a stigmatized behavior. and it's still associated with many negative attitudes. So due to this fact, we assume that there might be a negative association. So it's important to remember that this relationship is based on causal studies, not causal studies, correlational studies, so we do not know anything about the causal relationship, and we assume that it's not the activity in itself that is associated with its ill effects, but it's more about the feelings associated with the behavior. So when we ask people, how does the fact that you masturbate make you feel, and you go through the literature, there are, I would say, about 4 groups of people who have different feelings, or there are 4 broad categories how we can say people feel about the behavior or doing it. And the first one are those who have extremely negative views about masturbating in a way that they feel pathetic about doing it, they feel ashamed or guilty. Here are those who say the fact that I masturbate makes me feel bad or maybe gross, disgusted. And some say also that they feel, or it's indicated that they feel like a romantic failure, that they masturbate and this reminds them of not having a sexual partner. So I assume that people in this group would masturbate less because in order to avoid feeling these negative feelings. Then we have the second group. Here we have people who are quite ambivalent about masturbating. Here are those who say, oh, it's quite pleasurable, but they feel shame at the same time. And here are those who extend a lot of effort in order to balance these negative feelings. Here we have those who try to and either lie to themselves, lie to others in order to hide it, or do it, for example, very late at night in order to feel that I almost didn't do it, it didn't happen. Then we have those who are the sex-positive individuals. Here, masturbation is not only associated with being a satisfying and fulfilling activity, but it has an additional quality. And I would say here are those who here are individuals who feel it has it's a symbolic tool to express yourself, to express your independence, to feel autonomy, feeling empowered, powerful, sexy, and sexual agency. And in the last group, we have those who feel or doesn't have so much feelings associated to the behavior. Here are those who does not feel a lot of guilt, but they are not the same as the sex positive. Here are those who have a more neutral association to it. It's more a detached relationship. Here are people, for example, who brush their teeth, masturbate, and go off to work. It's a more efficient and predictable way of getting off feeling pleasure or feeling relaxed. So when you look into the research, you say there's a really broad variety of how people feel about masturbating and their views about the behavior. So our idea was maybe there's not such a linear relationship between masturbation and sexual satisfaction, but what if we find different groups of people who are different combinations? So our research idea was to find out whether there are subgroups of individuals who differ in their masturbation frequency and sexual satisfaction patterns. And we wanted to know whether there are sociodemographic, psychological, and sexual behavior factors that predict these different groups of masturbation sexual satisfaction typologies. So what we did is that we conducted a 2-step cluster analysis based on a probability-based sample of 4,160 Norwegians. And the cluster analysis revealed 4 different clusters, and the cluster solution was quite similar for men and women. And the first cluster, we had people who reported high masturbation, and they were really happy about their sex life. In the second cluster, we found those who either said, no, I do not masturbate at all, or I do it a little bit, but I'm still happy about my sex life. Then we had those who reported high masturbation, but being sexually dissatisfied. And the last cluster included people who reported low masturbation and sexual dissatisfaction. And here you see an overview of the characteristics in each clusters. And what we found is that the mean age was highest in the clusters characterized by low masturbation frequency. It's maybe a bit obvious, but yes, still. And the clusters which included sexually dissatisfied individuals, here you see it with a D, reported highest levels of sexual distress, and there were also those who reported being less satisfied with their body image and less satisfied with their genital appearance. Those who reported seeing a lot of pornography and had a lot of sexual experiences and desires were most commonly found in the clusters characterized by high masturbation. And last, we found those who reported most intercourse frequency were found in the clusters characterized by high sexual satisfaction. So we did also multinomial regression analysis, but I don't want to repeat the findings because they were quite similar to those I've already shown. I just want to stress the main findings, which were that, that psychological factors such as sexual distress, body image, and genital self-image were mainly associated with clusters characterized by sexual dissatisfaction independent of masturbation frequency, while sexual behavior factors such as pornography use and sexual experiences and desires were most common in the clusters characterized by high masturbation and in a way independent of sexual satisfaction. There were also an interesting gender-specific finding in relationship to intercourse frequency. It is shown that men who reported a lot of partnered sex, they were more likely to report high masturbation and being sexually satisfied than being sexually dissatisfied or being in a cluster characterized by sexual dissatisfaction. But if we compare those men who were, those clusters who only included sexually satisfied men, we find that those who report more intercourse frequency were more often reporting low or no masturbation. And we think that this is in alignment with the compensatory model, as it suggests that masturbation is considered as unnecessary if you have highly satisfying and frequent sex life with a partner. However, if we look into women, we see that those who reported a lot of partnered sex were more likely to report high masturbation and sexually satisfying and being sexually satisfied compared to than any other clusters. And this is in a way in alignment with the complementary model, as it suggests that frequent solo sex enhances partnered sex. So in conclusion, we have three main take-home messages. The first one, it seems like that there's not a linear relationship between sexual satisfaction, but we do in fact find different sexual typologies, and we found that psychological factors were more clearly related to sexual dissatisfaction, while sexual behavior factors were mainly linked to masturbation frequency. And the gendered finding revealed a compensatory model for or pattern for men and a complementary pattern for women. Are there any questions?